This is Perspectivas Latinas, a community service of CAN TV. I'm your host, Juan Carlos Hernandez. Although South Chicago is one of the least known areas of the city, it remains a community that is working to create a better future. Some years ago, a group of women created Centro Comunitario Juan Diego to do just that. Today we have Carmen Garcia and Rosa Perea to talk about the organization and its work. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's start off by talking about how this organization came to be. Rosa?
In the mid-1980s, there was a group of about 30 women that met at the church. And
What church?
Immaculate Conception Church.
On Commercial Avenue?
On Commercial Avenue. And they would reflect on the literatures, on the Bible, and then they would act upon it. And slowly, they started coming into the schools and started organizing around graffiti and crime and all kind of stuff. They were really active, and people started to notice them. As the years went by, more and more individuals started coming together with them, but on a monthly basis, they would still reflect on the Bible and then act upon it. In 1994, they actually opened the center and registered it with the federal government and the state.
As a nonprofit?
As a non-for-profit, yes.
What finally, I'm curious about what they were reading in the Bible, but I'm curious more about the decision that finally made them say, we need to open a center. What caused that? Because that's a huge commitment.
Well, right before they actually opened the center, they needed a place to gather and to also have a door open for people that wanted to come and either join them or, inquire about how they might, get some help on certain things. It's funny because they were doing activist work, but then people would come to them, mostly immigrant people. They wanted to know where they could go find a doctor, what kind of services were in the community, and that's really what triggered them to open the center. They knew that there was a lot of immigrants coming to South Chicago, but there wasn't any place for them to go, and a place where they could feel safe, because a lot of them were undocumented. And also because a lot of the organizations around the community would ask for social securities or for anything that they wanted to provide as far as services. And that's really, they saw themselves being active and taking that role.
Okay. And Carmen, how did you come to work at this organization, and what's a part of your work there?
Well, I came because when I was looking for a job, I met somebody that proposed to me to apply in Community Center Juan Diego, especially because I'm a French speaker too. Okay. And around our community, we have an African French speakers and people that come from Haiti. Okay. So they speak French and Creole. And at that time, they have a project they were applying for a grant, and they included to offer our services for prenatal education for Hispanic and Haitian people, and African American, African people that they came from Africa, but in French speakers. So in 2007, I started my job in the community, but I had a lot of experience, and I find that not just people that they came from Haiti are living in the neighborhood. I find that people that they came from Cameroon, from Senegal, and I was feeling so comfortable that they came to the center and asked for a service, and that somebody can speak their language in French. And actually, I'm a part of the group of health promoter, and I'm offer a part of diabetes classes for a group that we have in the community center every Wednesday. Okay. We offer these classes to educate and empower the people that they have diabetes. And
we'll certainly get into that, but I'm still curious about some of the origins of the organization. You said that the people that founded this, it was based out of this church, Immaculate Conception, but and through reading the Bible and the social, I guess, change that inspired. But you said they were going into schools. Rosa, what was that about? Going in? Was it public schools or Catholic schools or both?
Public schools, the quality of education.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking because I was one of the students that were in schools at the time. The women started organizing. Was not some of the best education that you could have found in Chicago. So the women started coming to the schools and organizing in the schools, organizing the parents. Specifically, again, the Spanish-speaking parents that were there who were not being included at the time, and they were able to bring them together with the African American parents, and they started a movement, and they were able to improve the quality of education within the schools at that time.
How did that happen exactly? Was there like asking teachers to have higher standards, or meeting with teachers and administrators, or?
Well, I remember back then when they started talking about having local school councils. It wasn't there. Local school councils were not in existence at the time. But I remember going to the rallies and being on the buses with all these parents, and taking a trip to like Springfield and the governor's houses. And I remember that all of the parents were there. All the parents that started Centro Juan Diego were also there. So I remember that. That's it, and we got actually at that time. I remember getting a new principal. She was Latina, and she understood the parents, and the parents really, would be able to communicate with the principal and tell her, what kind of improvement that she could make, and she was willing to work with them. So stuff like that.
Okay, so it was around education.
Yes.
That the first the organization came about, and then in 1994, you said, is when you finally became recognized non-for-profit, 501c3.
Yes.
Okay, and I was curious, why Juan Diego?
Well, at that time, as the years went by, the women started to leave. There was about 13 that were left, and they said, okay, well, let's start. They actually opened the office in the front porch of my house.
Of your house?
Yes, and they put a telephone
Why your
cord.
house? You have to tell that story.
Oh my goodness. They put a telephone cord from the kitchen, a 100-foot cord, all the way to the front of the porch to have a phone available for people if they wanted to make a doctor's appointment or whatever they needed it for.
So then it was your mom that was one of the founders?
My mom was one of the founders, Olivia, and I was a teenager back then, and I could not understand why she wanted this at her house. I wanted these people out of my house. But anyway, the work that they did was something that you would have never found anywhere else. And so the women, what they did is, I remember them being in the living room of my house, and they all put a name. Like my mom wanted the name of Centro Guadalupano. She really wanted Centro Guadalupano.
She should have just named it that.
She should have, but there was these other women that also were helping to organize. And they pulled out a name, and it came out Centro Juan Diego.
Okay.
And at that time, Juan Diego wasn't a saint, so they didn't add the San Juan Diego.
Okay. And since then, he's been canonized.
Yes.
Right.
I think it was in 2000 when that happened.
Yeah. And so the name remains and the organization remains. And it's interesting that, like I said in the open, South Chicago is one of the least known areas of the city. And I think it's an area that people tend to drive through on their way downtown or their way to Northwest Indiana or somewhere else. What are some of the biggest challenges you see, both of you, in the community? You said that recent immigrants from Africa and from Haiti, who are French speakers, right? Certainly that poses some challenges. What else do we see there? Start off with Carmen. What do you see in your work there?
Well, actually, we have a big community of African American, and for the last after the problem about foreclosures and this kind of real estate problem, and what is that the people or the families surrounding the neighborhood, they needed to deal with this inconvenience. They came to the center to ask for some referrals or information about how they can deal or ask for help.
So that's a big issue in that area, foreclosures, like in a lot of places in Chicago, but that's especially there. I think I drive through there often and see a lot of, boarded up houses or empty lots, unfortunately.
And one of these consequences was that the people are struggling on that and divided their incomes to pay their bills, their mortgage, and plus they asked for food too. So we have the food pantry service that we offer to the community. And a long time ago we have it, but we needed to work on it and having a budget to afford. So we were opening, but then when we didn't, we can't afford. So we needed to close. Then
a food pantry.
A food pantry
needed to close. It was that tough.
Yeah, we closed for 2 years.
2 years. Wow.
And then we were we are opening for that every Friday.
Every Friday.
We offer the service to the public or the neighbors that are living around on the zip code 60617.
617.
And they now they are we serve a lot of our individuals around these services, but it's one of the first needs that actually we are responding regarding our community.
So, problems of poverty, right? Those are huge problems.
Yes, our the individuals that come to see or receive our services, 70% are twice below the poverty level.
Twice below
the poverty level. And and I know because we're struggling as individuals, members of the organization, we're struggling. And I try to imagine like how difficult it is for the people that come. And we have men that come that are from Mexico or from other Latin countries, and they tell you, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to ask for help, but I need the help.
Right.
And that, to me, I think that's really sad. That saddens me because I know that, especially Latino men, they have el orgullo. They're really proud. So the fact that they come and they tell you, I don't know how to do this, it's really sad.
They feel embarrassing to ask for help.
Aside from the income level being so low, we also have to struggle with, of course, like a lot of other organizations, a lot of communities, crime, high incidence of crime. We also have the gangs, and we have all this. But
what besides the gangs, what other types of crime do you see?
A lot of theft.
Theft?
High incidence of theft.
Is it break-ins or?
Yes,
a lot of break-ins.
Homes and cars and
prostitution too.
Prostitution.
A lot of prostitution. Yeah, it's actually getting slightly better, and I'll tell you why. Because there's a big property, U.S. sex property, that's by the lake, and that's bringing a lot of attention to individuals that want to invest in the property. And so the organizations within the community see this as an opportunity to, better the community. And I don't want to use the word gentrification, but that's really what it's called. And so, so there is a lot of attention being brought to the community because they don't want to scare people off. They want to attract a certain individual to come and invest in the community. So there is, I'm not gonna lie, there is some effort to address these issues.
And we have another public health problem. We have a lot of domestic violence.
A lot of domestic violence.
And we support and we refer women especially that they are affected for this problem. And
is it primarily women or women and children?
Women and children.
Women and children.
And because our agency is really, our atmosphere is really welcoming, they feel comfortable to come to our agency.
And so how do you say you receive the women and then you refer them out for services, or if so, just for our viewers, just in case somebody has the need, how does that process work? Will they call you or go to your center?
They could call us or they could come to our agency, and then we also have, we work with with different agencies. We work with the police department. We work with a lot of individuals that are able to help us, depending on the situation, of course, because a lot of people don't want to, work with the police, but they want, some type of support or help, and we'll refer them to the right agencies.
But you're not a safe house, right?
We are not a safe house, but we do stay with them, to make sure that they're getting the service that they're supposed to get.
Until they were safe, or we offer the center, and we offer clothes if they need it, and we offer emergency food pantry if they need it too.
Okay, just backtracking a bit about the food pantry and just the great need that it reflects down in South Chicago. You said it's shut down for 2 years. And when did it reopen then?
Well, we got a small grant for $4,000 through a foundation, and we were able to restart it. But the Greater Chicago Food Depository has a great program where you could go and get free, like, vegetables, produce that are, things that they can't keep in a warehouse, but they need to get rid of.
Right.
So we take advantage of that. I go every Thursday and we pick up food, and then on Friday we have to give it out right away because it's bread, and so it's a good variety of like, their basket is full of different variety of foods.
Okay, and so every Friday, and how long is the pantry open on Fridays?
2 hours, from 3 to 5.
Yes.
3 to 5 in the afternoon?
In the afternoon, every Friday.
Okay, and approximately how many people do you serve?
Well, right on the week of Thanksgiving, we gave out to 35 families. On a regular week, we could probably get between 25 to 35, depending on how many. So the majority of times we have to turn people away because we run out of food before the 2 hours are over.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing that you had to actually shut down and then reopen, and yet with this financial crisis, with the difficult economy, some others are even having more difficulty. But you also bring to mind, and just the contrast, I guess, and certainly I want to continue talking about the services, but you said that there is more attention on South Chicago, on that area, because of the U.S. Steel site that's they already opened up US 41, and now they're going to be developing a lot of that area, and how in many ways, because you use the word gentrification, the people that live there, it's very likely that they'll be excluded from any development. How do you feel about that, and what do you hope, this is for both of you, and what do you hope to do, and what kind of work do you plan to do in order to be included in that process?
Well, we started organizing. We started coming together as different organizations and community members to address the issue, because we definitely want to be part of it. We don't want to be excluded. If we are excluded, then we're going to be pushed out of the community, and we're not going to benefit from, having this beautiful community that's going to turn into. I always wanted to live on the north side, so I'm imagining it being like the north side.
Right.
So we have been meeting on a regular basis once a week to talk about.
With who have you been meeting?
There's an organization called the Southeast Alliance, and we've been meeting with them to bring wording, like a document, and word it out exactly how is it that we want to present it to the, to the individuals that are, investing in the property, that we also want to be part of it, and that they need to give back to the community. I've been living in the community for 43 years already, and I think that, I don't want to be pushed out. I haven't left. Yes, that's where I go to church. That's where my son goes to school. I've invested a lot of, time in my community. So I don't want to be pushed out. I want to also benefit from the wonderful things that are coming in. And so we have to make sure, we have to go to the meetings, make sure we're there, make sure we're present, and also include those individuals that are not able to be there, like a lot of the Latino speaking residents that are not able to, because they work two jobs, or they're not able to be there. So it's up to us to also be there for them.
Mm-hmm. And you don't live in South Chicago, but you work there. What sense do you get about with this gentrification? Do you think you can take lessons from other parts of the city and maybe make alliances with other organizations from the city, or you're just going to have to kind of fight on your own down there?
Well, I don't live in the neighborhood. I'm living in Little Village, but it's I feel like it's my second house, because I passed the most of or more than 8 hours, or probably because sometimes we have some activities after my job schedule, and I needed to come sometimes in Saturday or on Sunday, and I feel like a part of a neighbor from South Chicago, and I think one of the best way to involve the people is first of all to educate to them, and let them know what their rights, and as a neighbor, as an individual that are living around the neighborhood, because they provide to the place and a big variety of talents. That we have people that are working in different areas, so they have something to share about their experience. They work so hard as employers in the restaurants. We have a commerce around, and the most a lot stores, groceries. We have restaurants. We have different commerce, and everybody's a part of the development. So if we are living close to this big project, so we need to learn how to increase this part of priority. But especially I think that we need to educate the people about this process, what's mean gentrification, and to give the value that as a neighborhood we need we deserve.
Right. Definitely. It's. I think both of you, you've said it very directly, but the people that have been living there and working there and have investments there, such as businesses, deserve that equal footing, that equality at the table when these decisions are being made as far as to what's going to happen in the community. We're getting close to the end here. We have a few minutes left, and I don't want to talk everything about gentrification, although it's incredibly important. You also focus on other areas, and you touched on it earlier, health, and as far as diabetes, because that's a huge problem in the African American community and the Latino community. What do you do What do you do specifically around diabetes?
Well, we have. Do you want to talk about the support group?
Yes, and then you can continue. Well, we receive a training from the UIC, and we receive lessons regarding to transmit and educate, especially Latino people, that they have diabetes. But the main objective is to support the people and help to them, and provide some techniques or ways to have a better handling on their on their diabetes. And we know that around our neighborhood we have a lot of people that they have diabetes, and sometimes when they are part as a clients of different community clinics, they don't receive the complete information, and they don't feel so comfortable when they have a lot of question about what is happening, why I start to have problems because I feel depressed, I feel dizzy, I don't know what's mean A1C, but the A1C, it's a special test that the doctors need to get from the people that have diabetes to know for the last 3 months how it was their level of sugar in their blood. So sometimes the people are confident on us because we use a very simple language that they can understand what is happening with them. And if they go to the clinic, they feel a little bit not confident because it's very technical and the people don't look familiar with them.
Okay.
So.
And you offered in Spanish and in
Spanish
English?
and English.
And French too?
Sometimes in French.
Sometimes in French.
Quelquefois en français. Sometimes in French. But especially on the group, the people find or they feel so comfortable, but it's not like a very academic class. It's like a family or a group of friends. They every Wednesday come and talk about their experience. And for example, one of them were talking about, do you know that actually I feel better because yesterday I could to walk without dizzy on me, and actually I feel better because I took my my breakfast on paying attention about the portion that I have, some carbs, some fibers, some fruits, and the most of the time they say thank you to us because we teach to them and they learn from us that they can have a better quality of life on having information regarding how they can handle their diabetes, but in a very familiar way.
Okay. And you also work in social services, right?
We do work at social services.
We're running out of time, so tell us as quickly as you can, please. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. We do have the CETA program where people come and apply for the light and gas assistance.
Okay.
We have if the individuals need clothing, we have clothing. But we also just yesterday had an inauguration to open a thrift store in the back that helps us bring income to pay our light and our gas. And we write letters. I do a lot of translations for people that need to get their letters translated for immigration, so I do that.
Oh, wow.
We do make phone calls, like if they needed to call their unemployment, we do all that. But can I really quickly just say, we do have a big a program that's very successful that one of our other promotoras does is a breast cancer program. It's been very successful. We've been able to reach over 600 individuals that we referred to doctors and also to get free mammograms. Just wanted to mention that.
Great. Thank you so much. This is great work you're doing, and thanks for sharing it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Perspectivas Latinas is a community service of CAN TV. If your nonprofit organization would like to work with CAN TV, call 312-738-1400 and ask for nonprofit services. Tune into Perspectivas Latinas for local issues and concerns every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. on CAN TV 21. I'm Juan Carlos Hernandez. Thank you for joining us.